3, LSU.
Yeah. LSU should be one. I'm not going to lie to you.
One, huh?
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, they should be at some point.
Right.
You know, I think if Kelly starts producing 12 game seasons, wins, I think they're going to be a clear cut number one, because that is one of the most violent places to play. It it's Death Valley, man. At night, I mean, it's its own vibe, and you can't mimic it, brother. And I just think that when they and we should all SEC teams should be worried. You talk about Saban yesterday, and you talked about Kirby just repeating championships and stuff. But that little LSU helmet sitting right beside you, if that team starts putting their shit together, that will be one of the most electric environments yet again. It will be number one. So I have no quarrel with you having it at this spot here, but yeah, you're talking about home field advantage, Death Valley. Jeez.
Now for me, Shane, 2-1. I mean, this was the toughest decision on the entire board. Alabama's got the best record, so you can easily make the case for that. But I'm going with them dogs, Shane. I mean, Tennessee's found out. Arkansas's found out. Damn, everybody that steps into that stadium has found out under Kirby's, well, except for his first year, Shane. He lost to Tennessee at home. He lost to Vanderbilt at home. He was losing to everybody on his first year. But ever since then, nobody walks out of that damn stadium alive, aside from South Carolina, actually, believe it or not. That's the last team to beat Georgia. They are 16-1 in their last 17 SEC home games. Give me Georgia number one. And everybody thinks I just hate Alabama now. Number two in the SEC is you're basically saying number two in the country in my mind. So Alabama, you're number two in my book. But again, you could easily talk me into Alabama being number one. I'm splitting hairs right here.
Yeah, and this is a tough part of the list right here. This is where you're going to get most of your complaints, because people are going to say Alabama didn't win because of home field advantage. Georgia's not winning because of home field advantage. They're winning because they're loaded with NFL rosters,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could see that argument. Like LSU skews games because of the noise and environment. I would rather have them at one. I would move, personally, Georgia and Alabama down, not because it's not a crazy place to play or that you're probably going to lose, but it's just,
well,
it's
Shane,
almost,
I could spin it this way too. I mean, we've seen Tennessee play at Georgia. They got outclassed.
yeah.
They played out last time they played at Alabama. I mean, they kept it close for a little while, but they played LSU last year. They smoked them in Death Valley.
Well, no, and again, I think if I'm picking one between Georgia and Alabama because of that Tennessee matchup, I would put Georgia ahead of Alabama, just because when called upon, the shoulder pads came out, the dogs came barking, that place got loud and violent. It is an extreme, but almost every SEC cathedral is that way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just thinking, if I'm leaning one or the other, I'm going to have probably Georgia 1, Alabama 2, and that's no knock on Alabama and their stadium. I mean, clearly we're talking 2 losses in the last 10 years, and what was that losses? There was LSU, that was a close game that came down to the wire.
2019.
What was the other one?
Ole Miss, Hugh Freeze.
No,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a miracle. So, I mean, you think about that. It took some really. I mean, even the 2, it wasn't like they got beat. They lost. They made mistakes. So, Mike, this is where you're going to get them, because a lot of people aren't going to see it the way you're saying it. They're not going to take a pause and look at the 10-year record and say, okay, Mike, this makes sense. They're going to say, are you kidding me? This is have you been to Neyland? Have you been to Columbia? Those atmospheres are different. They're different, and but the numbers don't lie either. So I see where you're trying to balance and factor, but. Give me Georgia number 1 myself. Just if it weren't for that Tennessee game, I'd have them further down the list. Alabama and then LSU there.